Well, hello, hello, hello. For those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Una, and I am your best friend. Okay. I'm Dr. Una. I have been in private practice. I'm a pediatrician. I've owned my own private practice for the last 15 years, and I've really devoted this aspect of my career to you. I want to see you, the physician private practice owner, thrive in your private practice, have a practice that helps a lot of people, which we desperately need at this time, and creates, a practice that creates financial freedom and time freedom for you. Okay, so we're literally the people who are defying the odds, and I want you to, join me to do that. But I'm devoted to helping you do that. I have a whole YouTube channel. If you're joining us on LinkedIn or Facebook, it's called the Profitable Private Practice Channel, and it's just for you, to help you win, give you strategies, all of that. I wrote a book called the Profitable Private Practice Playbook, again, just for you. I want to see you win. And today we're going to look at how many private practices are losing $88,000 per doctor every single year, and how you can fix that. Okay, this is huge, and if you make this change in your private practice, it would make a huge difference. Okay, so say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're joining us from, and we're going to get started here. This is going to be a big boost you're going to give your private practice. Is going to make a huge change. Huge change. Okay, all right. Now, so why I want you to think for a second. What would you do with an extra $88,000 in your private practice? What would you do? Would you hire an office manager and get a bunch of administrative things off your plate, or have somebody who would work with you towards the outcome of your practice? Is there some equipment that you can have a huge ROI on that you'll go purchase? Would it give you the freedom to maybe take 3 weeks, 4 weeks off, so that you have time when you're not actively in the practice working on the practice? What would you do? Let me know in the chat. What would you do with an extra $88,000 in your practice? And I want to tell you why this is very, very significant. Now, we know recently there was news of Medicare cuts, and the Medicare cuts in reimbursement came to 2.83%. Okay. And I want you to think about it. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. I personally think it's horrible, right? Because here we are in a time where the cost of the delivery of the service is so much higher. And the insurance companies are like, you know what? We figured out what we're going to do about that. We're going to pay you less. They're going to pay you less. Okay. So that is mean. That is horrible. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. But I did the math here because I want to show you this. Okay. Now, for $1 million practice, that 2.83% decrease comes to $28,000, about $28,000. So think about that. For $1 million practice, what that comes to, the Medicare cut, what it comes to is $28,000. And so if, as a community of physicians who own private practices, if we're all mad about Medicare cutting rates such that we're making $28,000 less for $1 million practice, I want you to think about the $88,000 we're leaving on the practice. So Medicare, we'll come to that. We're going to come to that. We need enough empowered physicians, and we'll come after them. But I want to talk to you about what you're doing in your own practice. Because if we're upset that Medicare is cutting by 2.83% or $28,000 per, $1 million practice, how about us that are leaving $88,000 on the table? That's more than 3 times the Medicare cut. So Medicare being horrible is one thing. Us being horrible to our own businesses is a whole other thing. So my big thing is, don't be like Medicare. Don't do what Medicare is doing to you, to your own practice by your own self. Okay. So this is really significant. And you might say, where did Dr. Una get that number from? What is this whole $88,000 stuff? And I'm going to show you 5 different ways from our front desk. We're bleeding by $88,000 a year. I won't say we, because I fixed this in my own, in my own practice. But many private practice owners are bleeding by almost 6 figures. And I'm going to show you 5 different pathways, because many practices have one of these pathways. Okay. So if you want to see it, let me know in the chat. Yes, Dr. Una. Show this to us. 5 ways. Okay. Why am I saying this? Because when I show you the solution, I want you to lean all in on the solution. I want you to be, oh my goodness, Dr. Una, I'm throwing away $88,000 every single day. I'm going to, every single year in my practice. And this is per doctor. And so when people tell me, oh yeah, I run a great practice, I have 10 doctors, I start thinking, like, oh my goodness, we need to work on the efficiency of this practice, because the bigger your practice is and the bigger your team is, the more opportunity you have to leave hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. Okay, Dr. Una, getting too excited. We just started. So let's talk about these 5 ways. Okay. 5 ways the front desk can lose $88,000 per doctor per year. Number one. Now, let's make some assumptions here, okay? So assumption number one is that the average reimbursement per patient visit is $180, right? Of course, some will be more, some will be less, depending on the kind of visit, whatever. Let's just make the assumption that it's $180. The second assumption we're going to make is that on average, your copays are $45, okay? Again, for some it's more, for some it's less. Primary River, these are the assumptions we're making, okay? Now, based on that, based on $180 per reimbursement per visit and $45 per copay, I will show you 5 ways. Okay, 5 ways to throw away $88,000. And unfortunately, we're good at this. And we need to stop it. Okay. So, way number one, if you have a front desk team that misses only 8 copays per day, only 8 copays per day, that comes to $88,000 a year. They were perfect otherwise. They collected everything else. You just had this person, they don't feel comfortable collecting copays, or the patient tells them, like, I don't have it here, send me a bill and stuff like that. And they do that. Okay. If they miss out on 8 copays per day, you're at $88,000. You're out $88,000 for work you already did. Like, you literally have to do nothing else except collect these copays to have an extra $88,000 in your business. Number one. Number two, second pathway. Let's say that this person missed 2 deductibles a day. 2 deductibles a day. They like, it's a deductible, so the patient has to pay 100% of the responsibility, which again comes to $180, right? And they missed 2 of them every single day. They missed 2. You're the owner. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do with Jane? Here goes Jane again. She didn't collect the deductible. Whatever. Send them a bill. She misses 2 a day. Do the math. $88,000. Okay, $88,000 comes to $7,300 per month. Divide that by 20, divide that by 180. Boom, that's where we are. She misses 2. No biggie. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Done. She misses 2, you're out $88,000. Second pathway, which means if you're doing all of these things, you add them up, right? Like 88 times 5. Okay. Second way, she doesn't check everybody's eligibility. Okay, she doesn't check, because she's busy, and there are lots of patients coming through, and she wants to make sure they're seen in a timely manner, and so she doesn't check the insurance eligibility. And let's just say you have 2 people who are not eligible. They don't have insurance that you can bill. You're out of network. Okay, but Jane didn't catch it, and she only misses 2 a day. That's all she does. The other stuff, she's perfect at. She collects copays, she collects deductibles, all of that. She just doesn't do the insurance verification. When you ask her, it's like, oh, I was busy collecting the copays. I didn't have time for that. If she misses 2, you're out $88,000. You are out $88,000 if your front desk does that. If they do nothing else, that's the only thing they do. You're out $88,000. Okay. Way number 4. Okay. Now, you have people who have come to your practice, they were taken care of, you didn't know it was a deductible, whatever that is, and they have an outstanding balance. Okay, so let's say on average your outstanding balances run about $200. Okay, again, if she misses 2 per day, you're out $88,000. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, it's so easy. I've given you 4 different pathways. Take your pick. You can lose you lose them any which way. Okay, number 5. And let me know if this has happened in your practice before. Now, we've had people who would say they're so upset. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, my front desk. I'm like, what happened? They're like, oh, I overheard them say, we don't have any available appointments. And that patient went to the urgent care, but we could have seen them. We had holes in our schedule. If they miss only 2 opportunities to get people on the schedule, guess what? You guys are familiar with the number now. It's $88,000. $88,000. This happens all the time. Or maybe you're pediatrics like I am. This is a very simple question that will solve like so many of your problems. When a mom comes in and the mom comes in for an appointment for one child and the mother has 2 other children with them, you ask them, do Johnny and Paul need to be seen too? Because guess what's going to happen when the pediatrician comes? Oh, by the way, and the pediatrician may not want to convert it to a visit. They just want to answer a simple question. What does that come to if you do it twice a day, every day? $88,000. Okay. So just for fun, let's do the math, because what I've done is I've shown you 5 different ways. Each of these ways, if your front desk is deficient in any of these 5 ways, you'll be out $88,000. You'll be worse to your practice than Medicare is to your practice. You'll be worse to your practice than Medicare is. But let's say for some reason you do all 5. I'm just curious. Let's see what the math is. Okay. So 88,000 times 5. If your front desk is deficient in all of them, that's $440,000 per year. I want you to sit with that for just a second. Do you think this doesn't happen? This happens all the time. I consult with private practices all the time. I talk to private practice owners all the time. I cannot begin to tell you how much money we leave on the table. And so when people started screaming about Medicare, I'm like, that is awful. That is horrible. It makes no sense. What is wrong with them? And we have bigger fish to fry. There are bigger fish to fry in our practices. And that's not a bad thing. That's because, we were not trained as entrepreneurs. We're not trained as business people. And sometimes, and our primary focus is taking care of people like all good physicians. But if we don't add the business skills, it's expensive. It's expensive. So I want you to think about that. $440,000 you can leave on the table. Why, like, what business can survive leaving $440,000 on the table? This is the question we need to ask ourselves. Okay. Okay. Why did I take the time to do this? Because I wanted you to see that I'm not making up the $88,000. I'm not saying that to be cute. That is not clickbait. That's what happens. And we didn't talk about your MA. We didn't talk about your physicians. We didn't talk about you, the business owner. We didn't talk about the inefficiencies like of your workflow. There's so many places we lose money. We're only talking about the front desk. That's it. And it's already out $88,000 per strategy. Okay. So these things happen every single day. Some people will tell me, oh, Dr. Una, no, we collect all the copays. We do all of that. I'm like, you can never make that assumption. You have to actually go look at the data. Look at the data and say, yeah, we're not. Or come to terms with the fact that you are. There you are. Okay. So these happen every single day. Now, I know what somebody's thinking. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go have a meeting with my team. I can't believe they did that. Da 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 da. Before you start saying, my team sucks, and before you start deciding on disciplinary meetings you're going to have, please hear me. Please hear me. When you look at your team and your team is malfunctioning, I'm giving you a virtual hug, and then I'll tell you this. When you see that, the first place you look is at the leader, AKA you. And I'm a private practice owner. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run 5 companies. So I feel you. And I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but you need to understand this, because if you don't understand this, you can't fix the problem. When you look at your team and you're like, they are massively underperforming, they're not getting what I want done, they're just stressing me out, they're not generating revenue, blah, 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 blah. The first place to look at when you want to fix it is at yourself. You, the physician CEO, you running the practice. Why? because the it's everything starts and stops with the leader. The buck stops with you. So let's look at your team. Okay, you're like, this person underperforming. Look at my front desk. They're costing me $88,000 a year. But I want you to look at it. Who hired them? You did. Who onboarded them? You did. Who trains them? You do. Who holds them or doesn't hold them accountable? You. Who has not fired them if they need to be fired? You. And so, and I'm not accusing you. I'm talking to myself too. Okay, this is not this, Dr. Tola said too late, feelings hurt. This is not me coming at you, but this is me showing you the way to put yourself in a position where you can fix the problem. Okay, that's what this is. Because once you're looking, think of it, we're physicians. Okay, once you have the wrong diagnosis, it's almost impossible to fix the patient, because you'll be giving the wrong medication for the right disease. Is just that it's not a disease the person has. The first thing is a diagnosis. So when you look at your team and you're like, oh my goodness, my team is so jacked up, you just turn bloop and look at you. This is what I do, and that puts me in a position where I can fix it. Because if it's them, then you're just a victim. You're a victim of your team. No, you're not a victim of your team. You built the team. That's your team. This is a you problem. Okay, this is you problem, me problem. Okay, all right. So problem is not a word I like to use. So challenge is the word I like to use. So if there's a challenge with your team, you start by looking at you. And what that means is that there's opportunity, because you can fix this. Okay, what does your team need? I'm going to tell you. What does your team need? Your team needs a strong leader. And you might say, oh, I'm not a strong leader. No, ma'am, no, sir. You started that practice. You built it from the ground up. You are a strong leader, but you may have been hiding, or you may have not known how to lead your team, or any of those things. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay. But you have to decide, I'm a strong leader. And if there's something to learn, I'm going to learn. And if I didn't know how to lead my team in this area for profitability, I'm going to learn how to do it. I didn't know that my front desk had the capacity to cost me $88,000 a year. Now I know. So I'm going to lead them differently. Do you see what I'm saying? But it starts with you. So type this in the chat. I'm a strong leader. I'm a strong leader. Own it. That's who you are. I'm a strong leader. Okay. Now we can talk about leadership. I could do a training on leadership every single week for the rest of the year, and we wouldn't have combed it. Wouldn't have gone through it. But I'm not going to do that. Okay. We're not about the overwhelm. We're about giving you simple strategies that you can start using today. Okay. So I'm going to tell you about a tool that is the easiest tool to use to start fixing this, and that's your weekly meetings. Okay, it's your weekly meetings. Most of the physician entrepreneurs, physician practice owners I talk to, they don't have weekly meetings. And there are a number of reasons why. I'm going to say them real quick so that you can find yourself in them. And if you find it, just go like, okay, I'm going to give that up. Why? Because I'm a strong leader. Okay, I'm going to give that up. So I didn't have meetings in the beginning as well. And actually, my reason for not having meetings is because I was like, who am I that somebody will follow me? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing in this practice. And so I was hiding. I was hiding. Okay. If that's you too, just say hi, cuz. Okay. But that's what I was doing. Okay. So the tool, and many people do not have meetings. They just don't have meetings. They're like, I looked at the person's resume. They know what they're doing. Go and do what you do in the front office, and may the force be with you. That's what they do. It doesn't work that way. There is no rock star team. There's no A team that is built without leadership. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how good they were, wherever they were. They need you. Okay. So here's the deal. Okay. Why don't people have meetings? Well, where's the time? Where's the time? Okay. I don't have time. I'm busy seeing patients. I'm dealing with all these crazy prior authorizations and, all these demanding patients and blah, 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 blah. But this is the deal. The question I have for you is, if you knew that your front desk could cost you between $88,000 and $440,000 a year per doctor, would you find the time? Would you find the time if you knew? If you knew the opportunity cost of not meeting with your team, if you knew that it could cost you between $88,000 and $444,000 a year, would you meet with them? For me, it's an automatic yes, like absolutely. Okay. So we say we don't have time, but it's not that we don't have time, is we don't realize what it's costing us when we don't do that. Right. Some of the people don't meet because they don't know what to say. Like, what am I don't know how to run a meeting. Okay. I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Okay. And some other people are like I was. You have, what, people would call imposter syndrome. And you're like, who am I to lead? Who am I to, tell these people what to do? Or I don't want to micromanage them. Okay. You may not want to micromanage them, but you have to lead them. There has to be some leadership. Okay. Okay. So, team meeting. So if you start by saying, I'm going to meet weekly with my front desk. My goodness, if you do this, I'm going to walk you through some things. If you do this, it will make like the biggest difference in your practice. You could recoup $88,000 for the same number of patients. The same number of patients. And if you have like 4 doctors, that could be $440,000. Right? Okay, so very important meeting. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 things that need to happen in your meetings, and then I'm going to let you go. Okay, because sometimes we're like, I don't know what to do in a meeting. What's the purpose of the meeting? Here we go, more meetings. This is not more meetings. This is about keeping your private practice profitable. This is about you not being worse to your practice than Medicare. Okay, all right, what needs to happen? One is vision casting. Where are we going? I don't even want to dare you. I could say I dare you to go ask your team like what the vision for your practice is. Chances are they don't know. If you don't cast them, like I see some people in the on-trying to business school, so of course, your people know. But if you don't cast the vision, they don't know. So all those cute things you think about in your room, and this is where we're going, and you wrote it on a dry erase board, and all this stuff. It's time to start telling people about it, right? It's casting vision. And if you're like, I don't even know where to start with that, I don't have vision statements and all of that stuff. And these are things that we're going to really focus on in the profitable private practice movement, over the next 30 days. And it's going to be really powerful. And you can come join us, but I'll tell you about that in a second. But it's casting vision. If you're like, I don't know where to start, let me give you an easy place to start. Start every meeting by reading a testimonial or review or just about a win that a patient had, so people understand that their job is so much like the impact of their job is so much more than, oh, I just answer the phones, or I just check people in. They need to understand that the work they do is so important. They need to understand that it's changing lives, especially in the times that we live in with the great resignation, because people, I mean, they want to be paid well and they should be paid well and all of those things, but they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Put that in front of them. Put it in front of them. Let them know how this patient they took care of, the impact it had in their health, the impact it had on their family, their quality of life, and everything. This is important. Okay, so vision casting is something you want to do in your meetings, okay? And you want to do it all the time. You want to do it regularly, okay? The second thing you want to do, and this is where, oh my goodness, 95% of all doctors I have spoken to miss it, okay? And that's in having clear targets. That's in having clear targets. Most people in your team have no idea how to win. No idea. They don't know. They don't know. So the front desk, they think their job is to answer the phones, greet people with a smile, and maybe schedule appointments. But that's not what you want. After today, I hope that's I hope that's not all you want, right? And so they have no targets for copays. They have no targets for co-insurance and deductibles and old balances and gross collection ratios and making sure all insurances are verified and all that. There are no targets. And you will hit the targets you set, and you won't hit the ones you don't set. And so guess why we throw away so much money, like tens and tens of thousands of dollars, almost 6 figures, because we have no target. So what is the target for your team? That needs to be reviewed on a weekly basis. Like, this is the target and this is where you are in relation to the target. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing that needs to happen in your meetings is some kind of teaching. Now, it must not be every meeting, but this needs to happen. This is how you collect copays. This is how you answer the phone. This is how you determine what their co-insurance is. This is how you do that. Like the how to, the teaching needs to happen. Okay, and I don't know about you. You let me know if you were like that. When I first started, I was annoyed that I had to teach anybody anything. I'm like, hello. I asked you if you had experience. You said you had experience. I looked at your resume, said you have experience. I spoke to your references, said you had experience. Why are we having this conversation? But that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. Okay. And so when they come into your organization, you want some teaching happening there. And you don't have to go like, well, what will I teach about? Just find what's not working and teach them how to make it work. That's it. Don't make it complicated. Okay. Number four. Again, this was something I didn't like, which is the coaching. This is the coaching. It's like, why? I was like, why do I need to coach my team? Like, what in the world? But this is the deal. This is the deal. If as a business owner, and I know this because I've asked so many people, if as a business owner, you are uncomfortable asking people for money, if you're uncomfortable asking people for money, you best believe that your team is uncomfortable asking people for money. You're the business owner. You are the one who has the risk. You are the one who, I mean, if the business survives or fails, it's on you. You are the one that has the most to lose, and you're still uncomfortable asking for money. And so you put somebody in the front desk in 2025, the post COVID era, where people are more annoyed, more irritable, and more fragile than they've ever been. And you ask them to collect copays, deductibles, old balances, all of these things, verify insurance, and think they don't need coaching. They need coaching. They need you to tell them why it's important to collect. They need you to tell them how to overcome the mind drama around collecting. They need you to do those things. They need that support, and they need to know that you have their back. They need to know if a patient comes and say your front desk is so rude, they try to collect a copay from me. You tell them that yes, this, like we collect all copays before the visits. That's how we stay open. That's how we continue to serve you. Not like, oh, I'll talk to them. I don't know what they were doing. No, we don't throw our team under the bus when we make them do difficult work. So they will need coaching. So they need the vision casting. They need clear targets. They need teaching, or you can say training. They need coaching. And let me tell you what they need. Okay. So at my core, I'm phlegmatic. So this is one of the things I avoided like the plague. What do they need? Accountability. Type this in the chat. I will give my team the gift of accountability. It's a gift. When I hold my team accountable, I am aware I am doing one of the most amazing things I could ever do for them. Why? Because the breakfast of champions is feedback, it's accountability. Okay, you give them the gift of accountability, which means when things are not going the way they need to go, you're not sweeping on the carpet, you're not pretending it's not there, you're not avoiding it. This is what I see a lot in the medical space, is that people will actually find that a team member is underperforming and go hire somebody else to do their job. And so now they're paying two people to do the job of one person and holding none of them accountable. And we wonder why private practices are going out of business every single day. You give them the gift of accountability. You're like, these are your 5 targets. This is where we actually are. What is going on here? How can we support you so you can win here? Because I know you want to win, right? You've got to give your people the gift of accountability, because most normal people, and most people are normal, they want to do a great job. They want to deliver on the outcomes. They want to do that, but they need accountability. And so, as CEOs, as the savvy physician CEOs that we are, we don't run away from accountability. We don't run away from holding people accountable. We don't run away from difficult conversations. It is too expensive to run away from difficult conversations. Okay. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you're getting it. Okay. So if all you do after this today is, one, you recognize that, oh my goodness, I could literally be losing almost 6 figures from my front desk. If you walk away with that, and you walk away with, okay, and if there's an issue, if it looks like there's an issue with my front desk, I'm the real issue and I can fix me. And you decide to start running these meetings where these 5 things are happening, you would be on the path to fixing so many things in your practice. You put yourself in a position where you start acting, showing up, and creating results in a different way, right? This is what savvy entrepreneurs do. And physicians, we are known as people who are not good business people and all of those things. We have to rewrite that narrative because so many, I mean, there are over 123,000 primary care practices alone. We are entrepreneurs. And the sooner we start identifying as such and showing up as such, the better for everybody. As a private practice owner, there's so much more at stake than just your practice and you doing well and your financial security and all of that. I want all of that for you. I have dedicated the last 7 years of my life helping physicians have that. But there's a bigger problem at play, and that is that you're needed in the healthcare space. Like every time I hear a private practice shut down, I'm like, my goodness, how many patients have been displaced? How many patients don't have access to a good doctor anymore? How many like is we save lives. This is what we do as physicians. And one of the ways you save lives is by what you do clinically. The other way you save lives is by running a successful, profitable private practice. So when you're making your private practice thrive, you are doing more for healthcare than you'll ever know. Okay. Dr. Una, again, super excited, super excited. Okay. So here's the deal. Okay. I've shown you how much money you can lose. I've shown you 5 pathways you can lose said money. So it's so easy to do. People don't realize it is so easy to lose that much. I've shown you what the real problem is or the real challenge is, which is just you, it's me, right? Like we need to grow up and show up as leaders who can lead profitable teams, right? Okay. And I've given you a framework of sorts of how to run these meetings on a weekly basis. And if you're running meetings like that on a weekly basis, your front desk you have a brand new team. You simply will. You just will. Okay. So what I want you to do now is, you know, at the time of this recording, so tomorrow, for those of you watching this live or who are watching the replay within 24 hours, I'm going to be in the profitable private practice movement on like doing a deep dive on this framework, okay, for how you run these meetings, how you set those clear targets, right? How you have those when you have to do the accountability, how you do that piece, how you train your team, how you coach your team, how you get rid of the mind drama and all of those things. Because this tool, the profitable meeting system, this tool will change every team, your front desk team, your clinical team, your physician team, your practice administrator, everything. And because it will help you unlock the power of your team. Once you unlock the power of your team, you have a brand new practice. That means everybody's holding their weight. Everybody's serving the patients with you. Everybody's earning with you. It takes so much pressure off. It multiplies the impact you can have. It multiplies the financial freedom you can have. And it multiplies the time off you can have. If you don't fix the team, there's no pathway. There's no pathway to multiplied impact, financial freedom, and time freedom without a profitable team, not just a team. I talk to doctors all the time. We've talked to doctors running $3 million practices, but they're not profitable enough to pay themselves. They pay everybody else, but they're still needing to do locum jobs at 3 million to pay themselves. Why? They don't have a profitable team. They don't. And so they're bearing the weight of the financial responsibility themselves. You must figure this out. Okay. So in the profitable private practice movement, I'm going to be showing them unpacking that system, the profitable team meeting system. Okay. And if you do this and you implement it in your private practice, it will put you in a position for multiplied impact, multiplied financial freedom, multiplied time freedom. Okay. So the profitable private practice movement is something that we created for you. It gives you the opportunity. It is so simple. Guys, that's my job. My job is to take really complex business principles and make them super simple. And so what we did is we built this very simple system. This is what you do. You show up every Thursday. You show up every Thursday at noon to work on your business. On your business. We work on 3 main things. We work on helping you fill your schedule. We work on helping you get paid for the work you do, because the fact you saw a patient does not mean you got paid. You've had busy months and it was slowing the bank account. We help you figure that piece out, and we help you build profitable teams. What would be the result of that? Your finances are working, your time freedom is working, and you have unimaginable impact. because you can help so many people. And you stay in business and you get to be a vision board to show other people that they can have this too. Okay. This is what we do in the movement every Thursday. You don't even have to put out any other time. This is the time you come, you work on your business, boom. Right. Okay. And all of this for less than a cappuccino a day. It's $197 a month. So on trendy.com/movement. Okay. So you can go save your spot. It's $197 a month. The people who have worked with me prior to this, they pay 30,000, 45,000, 50,000, right? Because we help people like do do very important work, right? But we put this here because I don't it hurts me every time I hear that a private practice went out of business. It hurts me when I see someone running a very significant like what we would consider a very successful private practice doing millions, but it's not working. Like they would throw away their practice if they could, right? And so we built this. We said, how can we build something that can help every physician thrive? Like we could get every private practice to bigger legs of profitability. And that's why we build the profitable private practice movement. There's a movement of doctors who are defying the odds. You don't need to go to an MBA program. You don't need to struggle in your private practice alone. You don't need to go into Facebook groups with people giving conflicting information. You don't need to do any of that. Just come in, learn the simple strategies that will take your business to the next level. And that's that. Okay. So on trendy.com/movement. I'm going to be there tomorrow to unpack this system so you can learn and install it in your own practice. Every meeting you do will make your practice better. Every single one. Every single one. Okay. Okay. So go save your spot and tell the docs in your world about it. Docs who are in private practice are like, I found the answer because that's what we built. I still have friends reaching out to me and saying, "You, Dr. Una, have you lost your mind? Like, how can you deliver this much for $197?" I'm like, what I need 123,000 primary care practices alone. I'm like, I need to reach my people and I need to give them the simplest tools, like just be profitable. Okay. Just be profitable, increase your profits so you can pay yourself well, you can pay your team well, you have a nice distribution, you do it in such a way that you have time freedom, and I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Okay. So entrepreneur.com/movement. And this is the thought I want you to leave. I want to leave you with, and I want you to hang on to this thought. What is the thought? I can run a very profitable practice. I can pay myself and my team really well. I don't have to be burned out in private practice. I can actually love my practice. But it's not going to happen if I do things the way I've always done them, but I'm willing to change. But I can have this. I can have these things. I can have a full schedule. I can get paid for the work I do. I can have a team I love. I love my team. I run 5 companies. I love my team, right? You can have this too. Okay. So I'm rooting for you. And right from today, you can start implementing these things. If you're not already in the profitable private practice movement, come join us on trendy.com/movement. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do a deep dive on this stuff and you change your business. But the era of us throwing away $88,000 per year per doctor, for some up to 440,000, that time is over. We're done. We're done. We're now deciding to do it like we mean it. Okay. So you have just watched a training that has saved you between 88 and $440,000. I'm excited for you. I'm rooting for you. There's so much hope for us. And once there are enough empowered private practice owners, we'll go after the system. We'll get them, but we got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. Okay. All right. Rooting for you. See you in the profitable private practice movement.